We are back with another episode of Lubinski's Daily Dose. I'm Jim Lubinski, endurance sport coach, former professional triathlete, former professional ice hockey player, strength coach, all around good guy. So, hey, we had some great response after the last episode, after the first episode, so we are back at it. This is something we are going to do daily on a weekly basis. Daily, weekly, what the hell am I saying? Daily on a weekly basis. We're going to do this daily. We're going to bring a lot of good info. We had an awesome weekend of racing last weekend. We had people out at Ironman Lake Placid, Oregon 70.3, Super Tri in Long Beach. Something I want to get into. I spoke to 15, 20 athletes before the race, talk about their specific details of their racing, and something we spoke about in every single call was segmenting. So we're going to talk about that as we get into this. But we had some feedback on the last episode. Jared Lee, who went 9:15 at Lake Placid or thereabout, about an hour, 4-minute swim, 5-hour bike, 3-hour, 12-minute run. 210 pounds, Jared, of hulking mass. 210 pounds, pound for pound, maybe the fastest triathlete in the world. I used to think I was the fastest triathlete in the world, pound for pound at 195 pounds, but I think we got a new leader in the clubhouse in Jared. But fifth place in the 35 to 39 age group. Want to spot the Kona, so a lot of fun stuff. I like to say I model him after myself. I make him in the image of the Lord, the Lube, if you will, be myself. So, Jared had a great race, but he wrote a question on Spotify, which we got a bunch of questions on Spotify. But being a big dude, he wanted to know how he can swim more efficiently. And we just finished our Chords and Core session. Every Monday we do Chords and Core with the team. I do it on Zoom. I lead them through the workout. I have them all get the stretch cords that I recommend. And actually, I just started an Amazon Associates page. So I'll put that link with all the products that I recommend because I'm constantly getting questions on what product this, what goggles should I be using, what stretch cords, what tether, what this, what that. I put it all on that Amazon link, and I'll put that in there. So check that out. I put all the books that I read, the books that I recommend. That's all in there. But one thing is the stretch cords. Guys, you're doing all the swimming in the world, right? You're knocking your head into the wall. You're just doing the same thing over and over and over. I've been 2 minutes per 100 for 20 years. What the hell can I do differently? Add the strength workout in. If you can pull more water, if you're stronger and you can do that for a longer duration, you're more durable because you've added in that strength work, you've added in the stretch cords. You're going to go faster. You're going to come out of the water feeling better. So work in the strength work. Do your core work. Do 7 to 10 minutes of core work at night, but do stretch cords. And it doesn't have to be crazy. 3 sets of 30 repetitions is good. Just get the feel, and from there you can build. But if you want to join us on those Monday sessions, I put the Zoom link. Zoom sent me this thing. Hey, you're sharing your Zoom link publicly. We recommend not doing that. No one's going to join that's not going to do the stretch cord. Somebody joins that's a troll and starts talking smack, I'm going to give it right back to them. So join us Monday mornings, 5:45 a.m. And if you want the YouTube link, write in the Spotify comments, hey, send me the YouTube link. Or in the YouTube comments, send me the YouTube link and we'll get in touch. I'll send you the YouTube link for those Chords and Core sessions because it's too crucial, guys. You got to do the work. Don't just bang your head into the wall. And I say that if you can go uphill fast, you can go straight fast. So I work a ton of hill work into our bike workouts. I work it into our run workouts, treadmill hill repeats. I had Jack do treadmill hill repeats for the first time last week. He loved these. So why the hell I haven't been doing this? It's awesome. You work technique, you work strength, you work durability, you work speed. Hidden speed work is hills. So work all that stuff into your training, guys. And it's easy to go flat. Sure, I can go fast, flat, whatever. But you're going to get fast and you're going to optimize that training by working hills, working strength work, working stretch cords, working paddles. Guys, I go on the tether in the backyard 2, 3, 4 days a week where I swim in place for 30 minutes, but I'm against that bungee, right? I use the tier tether, also in the Amazon thing, the Amazon Associates link. The tier tether, and I just swim against that thing for a half hour straight. I'm working that strength, that durability, the ability to pull water. Yeah, it's mind-numbingly boring. I use my Form goggles, and I look at the counter, and I go 30 seconds hard, 30 seconds easy, minute hard, minute easy. And before I know it, 30 minutes is up. I've done quality work, and I swam straight for 30 minutes. So be willing to do the hard work. Which brings me to my first point. If you want to race successfully, right, you got to train, like I'm saying, willing to do the work. You can't be stopping within the workouts. You can't be giving up when it gets tough. You can't be just hitting the down arrow on Zwift when your legs start to burn. You got to push through that. Because if you're cutting it short, if you're taking breaks, if you're hitting the down arrow, if you're backing down when the going gets tough, That's what's going to happen on race day. And then you're not going to optimize the performance. You're going to back down when the going gets tough. You're going to DNF. You're going to cut out. You're going to quit. You're going to start walking. Everybody's hurting. Everybody wants to walk. I don't care if you're doing a sprint distance all the way up to an Ironman, up to ultra. You're going to want to walk when the going gets tough. But if you cultivate this mindset of, no, I persevere through the adversity, I persevere through all the shit that's happening right now, that's what's going to happen on race day. You're not going to back down. Your mind is going to say quit. Your body's going to say quit, but your will is going to be iron strong, and it's not going to let you, right? David Y just finished first in his age group at the 70 to 74. For 70 to 74, first in his age group, won by about a half hour. And he told, at Ironman Lake Placid, he told me every single aid station, he wanted to quit. He wanted to walk. But he said, you know what? I've never done it in training. I pushed through the adversity. I persevere through the adversity. And I always come out successfully. I'm not going to walk right now. So everything was telling him to walk. But he knew it was just cultivated within him that he was going to persevere through the shit. So persevere through the shit, guys. When the going gets tough in training and you want to give up, you want to quit, say, hey, you know what? I know Coach Jim is watching. I'm going to push through this. Race day is going to be no different. And you're across that finish line happy with your performance and content that you gave it your all every second through the ups, through the downs. And believe me, there are a ton of downs. But one thing that I was really honing in on in all these pre-race conversations I had, whether the athletes were doing sprint distance all the way up to Ironman distance, 70.3, was segmenting, guys. We got to learn to break the course down into smaller segments. The swim, you're swimming buoy to buoy to buoy. You're not looking at 4,000 meters or 400 meters, depending on your distance. You're looking at it as 100 meters at a time. And I say every 100 meters, check in with yourself. Do 50 hard strokes with your left arm, 50 hard strokes with your right arm, and just add a little intensity, infuse a little intensity into that execution, right? Get onto the bike, and you're just riding one feeding to the next. I'm saying, okay, I'm taking a drink every 5 minutes. Watch that timer. 5 minutes, another drink. 5 minutes, another drink. I'm taking a gel every 20 minutes. 20 minutes have passed. Boom. And within each one, you're just executing and staying present in the moment, right? You're not thinking, oh my God, I'm at mile 10. I have 102 to go. That's a long, long day. Let me back up. Back in high school, I had a history teacher, Mr. Carlson. And this guy was like, Old Man Withers. He was 95 years old. He had one eye. Back when in the 70s, when he was teaching, he went to a high school baseball game, Maine East High School, where I went. He went to one of the baseball games. He was just watching the game, and he was standing next to where the batters were warming up, and a donut, one of the weighted donuts, flew off a bat, hit this guy in the face. He lost his eye, right? So Mr. Carlson, fast forward 25 years, Mr. Carlson's history class, he's 95 years old. Most boring freaking class on the history of classes. This guy was just monotone. And then Napoleon came to power, right? It was no one could stay awake in this thing. I actually got a lot out of it when I realized how I could break it down and focus on the process. So all I would do at the beginning of the 50 minutes class, I would just watch the clock. I'd look at it, say 49 minutes, 48 minutes, 47 minutes. And then I started thinking, you know what if I just look at the clock every 5 minutes? And within that 5 minutes, just really dial in to what Mr. Carlson is saying, right? So I broke it down 5 minutes at a time. Okay, 5 minutes later, look at the clock. So you can't look at the clock to 5 minutes. Just watch Mr. Carlson and absorb what he's saying, and then the next 5 minutes. And then before I knew it, 50 minutes was up. But if I looked at it as one big 50-minute segment, oh, God, it was a long 50 minutes. Just like as if you look at all the buoys out there before an Ironman or before a sprint distance, you've never done a triathlon before, it's a long way. But if you just look at that first buoy, and then you look at the next buoy, and then you look at the next buoy, and then you get on the bike and you say, okay, I'm just going to ride 5 minutes to my first drink. I'm going to ride 20 minutes to my first gel. Then I'm going to ride 25 minutes, take another drink. 40 minutes, another gel. 60 minutes, another gel, right? You're just riding one checkpoint to the next without thinking big picture. Same thing on the run. You get through transition, you run 1 mile to the next mile to the next mile. You take it out an Ironman, first mile, 25 miles to go. You've already done 4,000 meter swim, 112 mile bike. Now you're into a marathon. How the hell am I going to do this? 26 miles? No, you just do it 1 mile at a time, 1 mile at a time. You click over to that half marathon and you say, you have a half marathon left. I'm going to run the fastest half marathon life. It's a standalone half marathon, 1 mile to the next mile to the next mile. But we got to practice it in training. When I'm on the Zwift workouts, we have the public Zwift workouts every Tuesday, every Thursday. I when I when I assign a workout, and they're public, when I assign a workout and it's intervals, 5 minutes at threshold, 6 times through, 5 minutes recovery between each, everybody shows up. I get 200 riders on that. When I assign a workout that's an hour straight of 70, 80, 60, 70, 60, 80, 50, 30 people show up. Nobody wants to do those longer duration because it's hard to stay engaged. But that's the efforts that we need as endurance sport athletes to stay on the pedals, stay engaged mentally, physically, emotionally. We got to do it in practice. If you're just taking it one chunk at a time, boom, 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 taking breaks, and you're breaking it up in those small segments, that's good to do, but you need to relate the feeling of that to the longer segments where you're going 5 minutes at a time, 5 minutes at 70. Okay, 5 minutes at 75, 5 minutes at 80, where you're never backing off the pedals. You're never backing the pressure off the pedals. So practice, practice, practice. Then we practice applying those smaller segments to the longer. When I first came to the sport from ice hockey, it's 45-second shift, take a break, 45-second shift, take a break. So you're just resetting every 45-second shift. So when I came to this sport, I took that mentality and I said, okay, I really learned to segment it quick because I took that short shift mentality and parlayed that into the longer efforts of half Ironman distance racing. But it takes total engagement because your mind is going to wander. Your mind is going to want to come off of the clear and now the present, the focus on what's happening here and now. I got the kids coming in. Guys, I'm recording something. Please give me a second. Hey, I'm recording. Give me a second. Give me 5 minutes. Come on. See, this is the way I talk to my kids, the same way I talk to my coaches, right? This is what I have to do. They come in here recording, but hey, I'm just acting right now. I'm not really that mean. But so back to the original point, we segment, right? We get into the mind frame of just taking it 1 second at a time. And then when the going gets tough and you think, oh my God, I'm only halfway through this thing. Or why do you think they call the wall to wall? It's 16 miles in. You still have 8 or 10 miles to go. How am I going to get to the end? I'm really tired right now. And that's the mind. You've done the work going in. It's the mind saying, how the hell am I going to do this? Right? So you got to think of how do you break the wall down? Brick by brick, right? Segment these courses, right? Look at it like smaller chunks. Never take it as one big chunk. But I get back to Jared, who had the successful performance, David, who had the successful performance, right? These guys are really tuned in to what they're doing, right? They segment all these races. It's just natural for them to do now with the success they've had. But I want to talk about their mindset. They're worried about them. They're out there time trialing against themselves, making sure they're staying within their ability level. They're not worried about what everybody else is doing out there. When I was racing professionally and I would go to the pro meetings, it was the worst thing ever because everybody's looking at each other. They're eyeing each other. What's that guy going to do? What's that guy going to do? What's that guy going to do? I was only out there getting the best performance out of myself. And as long as I crossed the finish line, happy with my performance, knowing I did the best within my ability levels, I was happy. But what athletes are doing now, especially with Strava, is it's a measuring stick, right? They're saying, "Oh, and I talked about this earlier in the recovery workout. They're measuring themselves against other athletes, and it's leading them to go too hard all the time. But it's also leading them to go into races thinking about what other people are going to do. What's this guy going to do? What's that guy going to do? What's this guy going to do? What if I don't have this? What if I don't have this time off the bike, and this guy does have that time? How am I ever going to catch him on the run, guys?" This is a time, these races, what we're doing, life in general, is a time trial against yourself, right? You're just going out there to show what you can do, what you've put into the training. When you cross the finish line, as long as you're content with the effort that you put out, that's all we can ask for. But if you start to think, I got to compete against this, compete against that, what's he going to do? What's her going to do? Your mind starts leaving the here and now, the presence, and going elsewhere. And when it starts to go elsewhere, when it starts to get distracted, that's when you lose that optimization of performance. So I'm a huge believer in meditation. Meditation teaches you to recognize when the mind wanders and bring it back to the present through using breath work or feel of your skin against a chair or a piece of leather or whatever the hell it is. It teaches you to bring it back to the present when the mind wanders. You thinking about other athletes and what they're doing, that's the mind wandering. That's the you thinking about what your competition is doing and it's taking away from right here, right now. You got to worry about yourself. So if you're someone who's just staring at Strava all the time, thinking about what this guy's doing, what that guy's doing, comparing yourself against other athletes, you got to quiet the noise. Maybe you limit Strava to just looking at how you've performed on your segments or what your average power was, what your heart rate was, looking at the data, but don't compare yourself. Forget about that. Bring it back to here, bring it back to now. Also, Strava, I'm pissed off at Strava right now because we got a lot of poachers. We got coaches poaching athletes saying, "Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? I would never do that. I would never do this." These are losers. These are coaches that have to start worrying about themselves, worrying about their own athletes, worry about how they're building their brand and not poaching other athletes. So if you're one of these coaches who goes on the Strava and poaches athletes and questions workouts on athletes, don't go to the athlete. Find out who the coach is and go to the coach you want to talk to him about it. Maybe that coach can teach you a thing or two. All right. Right now, I have a bone to pick with a few coaches who are poaching athletes, going to the athletes' comments. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Personal messaging them. I would never have you do a 90-minute run off the bike. Whereas this coach, quote unquote coach, goes and races every weekend. I have an athlete who hasn't raced all year. I have him do a long run off the bike, test nutrition, test pacing, test mindset, test durability. He hasn't raced in a year and a half. You have to do a long run off the bike when he's built to it. This other coach, athlete, is saying, I would never do that. But this guy races every other weekend. So what the hell do you think he's doing when he's racing every other weekend? He's running off the bike 90 minutes when he's doing a half Ironman or 40 minutes when he's doing a 10K. Guy can screw himself. Right? Poaching athletes. Worry about yourself, buddy. Worry about your athletes. Give more to your athletes. Don't try and go to other athletes and question those coaches. I've been doing this for 17 years, right? Don't question me. Screw you. Screw that guy. That's what I have to say about that. But that's all I got for this episode. We're 16 minutes in, so we're going to cut it there. I want to get a lot out of these episodes without going too long. But segment, worry about yourself, focus on yourself. Quiet the noise. And if you need anything, meditate, right? Get into meditation, 10 minutes a day. You got Calm, you got Headspace. There's a lot of free applications out there, but don't think, oh, I'm too cool for that. Meditation really helps you keep that presence. It keeps you stay focused on the here and now, which is what we need to do in between those segments. So questions, Spotify, YouTube, give us a review on Apple, iTunes, 5 stars, and keep listening, guys. We're going to keep coming at you daily with these things. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all the subscribes. Like it on Facebook, as my daughter likes to say, like and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow with some more good info. Thanks for tuning in. Love you guys. Coach Jim, race hard. Bye.